Hey there, kids. It's me, Oni the Unicorn. And I'm here to tell you that f***ing your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Oh No Radio Show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, $1 million if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh my God, we have a new champion!
And yes, welcome back to another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. There is clearly nothing to talk about this week, so I'll be out of here so these two can talk about their farts.
Fink?
The fuck Fink
Get
from
the
beyond the grave.
He always he fucks with us. He fucks with all the podcasts. Let's be real, but Fink, you couldn't be more wrong, because I'll tell you that this year of 2022 has been remarkable as far as content creation and podcasting and just speculation as a fan watching the world of professional wrestling. I'm hopping right in here because there's so much to talk about, Duncan, but let me
Watching
just
the world burn.
Yeah, let me just let the people know who we are. My name is Owen. I am the king. Wait a minute, that's not me, that's you. Fuck.
Gimmick infringement, bro.
Ruining it already.
What are you doing?
My name is Owen, and I am the Shart Break Kid. Along with me is my good friend Duncan, and he is none other than the king of Bong Style.
Damn right. Missing is Matthew, the modern day Maharaja.
And I gotta go ahead.
Miss good brother.
Yeah, I gotta say, it sucks. We'll get him hopefully on the next show. We're working out some scheduling deets, to make sure that all of us can join you more often on a day that works out for everybody.
That's right.
Something that did work out for Duncan is his win in predictions, taking my illustrious championship on the last pay-per-view, Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. And Duncan, it was a close one. It was a close one, but that's not what we're here to start the show with. I feel like we got to hit all the talking points, because otherwise there's another wrestling.
Otherwise, because I'm not allowed to gloat because everybody else gloats when they win the fucking championship.
Well,
and we're just gonna cut that off right now. Nothing for the bald man. That's fine.
You know what?
That's okay. We can jump right into it.
Now that you say it, maybe we should. Maybe we should let the people wait a little bit longer to hear about all the pressing news that has gone on in not only 2022, but just in this last weekend. They know the news. They're here to hear what we think about the news. And trust me, we're going to talk about that because it's really important. But what is important as well is to discuss not only your win of the Predictions Championship, but last pay-per-view. I bought the Ring of Honor pay-per-view through the Fight TV app. If you use a VPN, it's a lot cheaper than buying it in America.
Allegedly. Not legal advice.
It's not illegal, and I paid for the pay-per-view. So
it's true.
I didn't do anything
I know.
illegal.
I didn't say it was illegal. I just said not legal advice.
Well, I'm just saying you might be able to do that
There
if you
is,
look hard enough.
We're not saying nothing. We're just saying.
We're just saying. So anyway, watch the show, and I have a lot of thoughts on this pay-per-view, to be honest with you. It goes all over the place with me. It's overall a good pay-per-view, but I think I've heard some people calling it the best pay-per-view of the year. I've heard some people saying this is better than any AEW pay-per-view. All of that is madness to me. This was a 3.5-star pay-per-view for me. Maybe
What
even
was Forbidden Door for you?
it was better than this. It was higher than this. For me. Yes, it was. I think I mean, it's been a while, obviously, since it's not been that long, but it's not fresh in the mind. There's not a ton of difference, but I think Forbidden Door might have gotten right around 4 stars for me as an overall pay-per-view. This wasn't quite 3.5 for me. This was a 3.44.
You were being generous with 3.5.
Yeah. And I do understand that this might have been for more people than just me. This was for, I don't even think this was 100% for a hardcore Ring of Honor audience. It's hard to nail down because I don't know exactly what the identity of Ring of Honor is, and I don't think any of us do right now, right? Like, what is this new Tony Khan driven Ring of Honor? We got a lot more clues.
What is Khan of Honor?
Khan of
Ring
Honor.
of Connor.
Ring of Connor, better.
Oh man.
Now this was, of course, filled with wonderful stuff, and we'll hit that to start. You have to talk about the main event, the main event at the end of the show, and we'll just talk about it first. We'll go backwards. FTR Briscoes 2 falls. What was it? Best 2 out of 3 falls.
2 out of 3 falls. Yeah.
The fight like an 8-year-old girl match, which
swear like an 8-year-old girl.
If you haven't seen that promo, it's absolutely fantastic. That promo happened whilst we were doing the show, or right before we were doing the show last week. So, highly anticipated match. FTR Briscoes 1 was, quite frankly, one of I think an immediate contender for match of the year. It might have been my match of the year, or it was certainly top 3. And I don't know which match I like more after seeing them both. I think I kind of like the first match more than this one, but it's so negligible. It's like they go back and forth. They each are good for their own reasons. I think because it was the first one, it actually gets more points as to who, like, in my mind, like, who was going to get this one, like that first match they had. It was smart that they did it was smart that there's a couple things here. It was smart that AEW had Swerve and Keith Lee win the tag belts, because I think we were all realistically looking for, okay, Young Bucks are going to retain in that. Then it goes to an FTR Young Bucks all the belts type thing.
Yeah.
That thankfully did not happen. So it kind of kept us guessing. The best 2 out of 3 falls was also, it's a similar situation in that regard, because you can tell a story with that and keep you engaged the whole time. Yet when the Briscoes got the first pinfall, I was like, FTR are going to win this. They're going to take the next 2. Like it did, and that might be why I had a little bit of a disconnect from it. Like it was amazing. It was great, but there was just something missing, and I think it might be that I had kind of figured, well, now this is perfectly placed for, in this match, this renaissance of this kind of momentum to shift and keep shifting with FTR.
Yeah.
And
so
that's
in your
exactly what
mind,
happened.
So in your mind, you would have rather seen FTR take the first fall,
Correct.
and then
Briscoes take the second, and then the third be an all-out bloodbath for that final fall. And you could have done, I think you could have done that with even some of the segments in the match. There was a great spot, you've probably seen this. Dax it's been shared everywhere on Twitter, where I think he was the one that like reposted it and said, when your two drunk uncles are sick of each other at the barbecue, and they, it's this absolute fist fight with this complete like that could have been saved until till the very end moments to kind of like establish that like that was earlier in the match. No, hey, I'm not gonna claim I know anything about like booking a wrestling match or agenting a match. I just think that this one, like it was fan fucking tastic, but it just didn't have the first, like the appeal of the first one. That was also WrestleMania weekend, and like that there was a lot of like buzz just going into it, and we all said it was one of, if not the best match of WrestleMania freaking weekend. Like so I just don't know that it got to those heights for me. The finish was unbelievable. I also think it might have been just a little bit too long. We're talking 5 minutes here, but like that was
Sure.
Oh gosh, I don't know how exactly long. It was close to 45 minutes.
I mean, it's the main event of a pay-per-view. It's 2 out of 3 falls match. Like, I don't want to see it be like 30 minutes, and it's just,
No. And I think maybe when I said 5, that's probably a little too extreme. This was maybe a 2 to 3. I don't know. There might have been a segment or two that could have been taken out. Like maybe that's a better way to put it. Just a little piece that, but I've only seen it once. I only saw it live. I would like to go back and watch it again. I'll also say that this might have something to do with some of my complaints with the pay-per-view as a whole, because I do think that the crowd, first off, was either they were saying in the building that they were going crazy. I don't know if that's true, but it didn't sound like it on TV. There were a lot of big ups and downs, and you could still feel some of it, but like there was a lot of flat. And I don't think I think and AEW's been guilty of this in the production side of things before, of not miking the crowd correctly. This felt like maybe it's a full new Ring of Honor production crew, and like this it wasn't as dialed in as felt like one of the earlier AEW pay-per-views where like there might have been like some pretty obvious hiccups in production and flaws.
Having been to Ring of Honor live, I do notice that the crowds tend to be a little bit more sort of reserved. Like they
closer to the Japanese fans, where
I mean, it would be the closest to Japanese fans in America that you have. Like they still go crazy for the ups and downs, and they still do chants, and they'll throw streamers and whatnot, but like they're not gonna go crazy all the time because a lot of them are neckbeards and out of shape.
This is it. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Just I also out of shape.
Yeah,
full beard, not on the neck.
So it was still match of the night. It was match of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that no matter what, it was gonna be match of the night, and so why not put that on last?
And it should have been. It obviously co-main event with, and I want to. We'll get to that in a sec. Actually, we'll get to the co-main event, because before that, what I would say was the second best match of the night was Dragon Lee and Roosh.
Ooh,
those two absolutely killed each other.
Pure fucking sexual match.
Yep.
God damn. Roosh and Dragon, first of all, they're brothers. So, like, that's one thing. I think that was their first match that they had ever had against each other as well.
Right.
Because they're both Ingobernables too.
Yep.
So,
They have not had many matches apparently. Like this was a kind of a rarity, but I don't know that they did a wonderful job. Me as a I haven't watched a Ring of Honor pay-per-view other than on tape, right? I have never seen one live prior to the last one. Actually, I didn't even watch that one live. I watched that one after the fact, I think. I can't remember now. But so
Death Before Dishonor.
That was this one.
Or
was it not Final Battle, because that was the final show before Tony got it.
Yeah. No, god damn it. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Whatever. I am not a super well-versed Ring of Honor fan because I've not been a Ring of Honor fan necessarily as it's going on. Have I seen a lot of the key matches that you need to have seen to kind of make things make sense? Yeah, I have. But I haven't but I haven't been I'm a Tony Khan Ring of Honor fan, right? So or just getting into what's happening, only being current with that.
You're an entry-level Ring of Honor fan.
Correct. I didn't think they did a great job of explaining a lot of the history of Roosh. I don't think they did a great job of explaining the history of Dragon Lee, but then there is a certain aspect of all Tony Khan's booking and the way he does television he expects his fans to be a little bit smarter, but I think they could do a better job of bridging that gap.
They definitely can, but also at the same time, I don't know. It's one of those things where sort of if you're gonna buy a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, probably no. Although I was gonna say Roosh wasn't even in Ring of Honor for that long, but he was world champion for a fucking while.
He was world champion, and then of course we've seen him a couple times on AEW TV, so that was part of it. And this match was a last minute throw on the card match because we didn't predict this match. It was not when we did the show.
It was announced right after we did the show.
Right. It might have been the following day or whatever, but
I think it was that night.
It might have been. It probably was because we did the show on Wednesday after Dynamite or right around then.
Yeah.
But it was a great match. They killed each other. I hope that they do more with Los Ingobernables in AEW.
Can you say that again?
Can't do it.
Okay.
Do you say it?
Los Ingobernables.
I can't ever say it.
Ingobernables. Does your wife not have?
I'm English.
I know. Have your wife.
She won't be able to do it either. She's worse than me. At least I can roll my R's. Yeah. Either way. I hope they run with that stable. In AEW and have that
and fucking sign Dragon Lee
and have that could be a huge part of what they do with this new Ring of Honor. And it can kind of I like the idea that things can bounce back and forth between the two promotions, all that, right? That's then just go through my list of what I think were the best matches of the evening. From there, it probably has to go to Wheeler and Daniel Garcia.
Okay.
It was a great match.
It was a great pure match. That's the thing is that's what the pure matches are supposed to be.
And honestly, they're doing something great with this is their this is their feud. This is their career feud. This is their Sammy KO. This is going to keep going in each iteration. So I get what they're doing and it's going to work. And you're going to see development of both characters in different directions. And I think what they're doing, I think Daniel Garcia, there's something it's going when it really is going to work, it's going to really work. And it's going to work better, I think, than Yuta. And it's just a matter of
that's the thing is everybody sort of expected Garcia to go Blackpool Combat Club.
Well, yeah.
And Wheeler you'd really think would be more suited for a Jericho Appreciation Society role. So it's very interesting to see how
They've gone backwards with the idea of the gimmick is essentially what it is, and how that's going to play out will be fun to kind of see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really kind of into it. So,
From there, it was probably the co-main event as best match. Because there were two kind of stinkers for me, and a lot of people will talk a lot more highly of the Samoa Joe Jay Lethal match, but I think Joe looked like shit.
I haven't had a chance to watch.
He still looked tough. He still looked scary. He still did the big man, but he looked like a bigger man, and he didn't like. There was something I did not get much out of this match. I thought it was kind of eh. So I'll put that second to last on my list on the main show. But before that, we have to, of course, talk about the Gresham Claudio Castagnoli.
Is that what
match.
we're saying? What was the co-main event? Like, how were they?
It was billed as the co-main event was billed as the championship match with Gresham and Claudio versus and then the other one being FTR Briscoes.
Interesting.
So, that's the way they build it. And of course,
they had one of the main events open the show,
and then one of
the other
them
closed.
Now, Tony Khan said in the after show media scrum I think they even said, no, they said this at the time on commentary, I want to say that they were co-main event, and that it was done through essentially a flip of the coin as to who got which spot. Now that part I don't believe. It's a fun way of explaining it, but what I think happened, and plays obviously into the next thing we'll talk about, is I think Tony Khan might have changed the order of the show around very last minute. And I think that you still could have had FTR go on last. You still could have had that match on last. But right before it might have been this match. Or the other way around. They might have been back-to-back at the end of the show.
Here's the thing. Everybody in that building should have and probably did know that nothing's going to top Briscoe's FTR 2.
Yep.
Right.
So it would have been hard to put that Gresham-Claudio match on afterwards.
Correct. Now, should they have?
It's arguable that they should have. Especially with the big moment for Claudio. Ends the show. The confetti comes down. He's the new champion.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, for me, I would argue that the heavyweight championship, the world title, should headline the show.
We're those guys, though. We always think that. And it's
yeah. But I also think for Ring of Honor,
I think you're probably right. I don't know, because I
can see it either way.
I can see it either way.
About it, but
and I do like in this day and age, we have often said that the opening spot and the closing spot are the two most important spots of any show now, especially and even in WWE. So this might have even been something like that, which Ring of Honor purists might not like. Doesn't matter. What I will say is that I feel like there might be some possibility, Duncan, that there was so much tension with Gresham and TK and Gresham just in general prior to the show and right before the show that TK might have been like, nah, you're going on first just in case anything fucking goes awry here. I still got the rest of the show to figure it out and recover. Because we all know by this point, Jonathan Gresham, the former champion of Ring of Honor, who lost the belt to Claudio,
champion who unified both Ring of Honor championships.
And it's important to talk about him a little bit here because he got, he's a very unfortunate dude for essentially picking up his role as the top Ring of Honor guy
at the wrong time.
And he carried those belts and he defended them in other promotions, and he really, I think he felt like he was the real face of Ring of Honor. And when Tony bought it, one can make the argument you might be a little mad. Well, you just bring in this new guy and he just beats me. Forget all of what I've done to keep this company and this belt and this lineage alive. You can argue all of that.
Sure.
But you can't argue that a lot more people were happy with Claudio winning a major world title. I think they were happier seeing that than they would have been seeing Gresham beat Claudio, right?
I think so.
Maybe this was a little too hot shot booking. You probably could have stretched this out for to the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view. You could have had a bit of a Gresham reign, but then again, strike where the iron's hot. Claudio is the guy. He's perfect for the belt. It's
here's where I think the biggest problem was. There were dark tapings a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That Gresham was at without the Ring of Honor title.
So everybody kind of knew at
everybody
that point.
Was speculating. And so my whole thing is he was probably pissed about having to do that.
Yep.
And to have to go and essentially not be the champion.
Well, a lot of stuff's come out about that. It seems like he wasn't very happy with the heel turn in general. He didn't really like or see why that was happening.
Why he aligned himself with
Tully Blanchard Enterprises, which
no
is
longer
which ended before it started, because now it's what is it, Prince Nana or something like that. He's some African
bought it and
prince,
rechristened it something else that has a lineage in Ring of Honor. I don't know.
Yeah, that one's lost. That one's lost on me.
It's lost on me as well. But now apparently Tully is out of AEW as well.
Yeah, you know what they said about that one, real quick?
No,
is that it was due to his prison ministry schedule.
Okay.
So he preaches or does, faith stuff in prisons, and that but that was the reason that's the only reason that I can find that Tully is no longer.
Well, I know that was why he I guess missed Ring of Honor, but I didn't realize that was why he is just not going to be with.
Maybe I read it wrong. Either way, I did not get good vibes from Gresham the minute he came down to the ring, and the match was remarkably short for what it should have been. I don't think that thing went 12, dude. It was.
What was funny is because I was working.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh wow, Claudio Gresham opening the show, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. That'll probably be a little while, and I'll 12 it felt like that.
Yeah.
You were just like, new champ. I was like, wait,
what?
Whoa.
They didn't give him 20 or no, they
maybe maybe they were afraid I don't think they were afraid they couldn't go 20. I think they were afraid if they went longer, something was gonna go south.
Exactly exactly what I'm saying. And the same reason I'm saying about maybe putting him on first is no, let's just get this shit out of the way, because this dude's pissed off. Let's do a quick little, he's gonna be pissed. But let's just do a quick little thing. Let's get it out of there. Let's strap up fucking Claudio and let's move on with the show.
And then he deleted his
Twitter
right after the show
and
during the show,
and Terminus's Twitter, which is his own promotion. He deleted that as well.
Oh shit!
Same night or the next night or something, that disappeared, and has now since come out and said that for the foreseeable future, after this month, I think he's probably got a couple dates he's got to fulfill, but after this month, he is going to take a hiatus from wrestling, and he's not a happy boy. Apparently
did he lose his smile?
I think he lost his smile, and he yelled at Tony Khan, and Tony Khan was like, "Fuck you, dog. You out."
I mean, don't yell at Tony Khan.
Don't yell at Tony Khan. Everybody's been saying that this is also kind of indicative of what some other people have said regarding Tony and the communication backstage with AEW. It does seem like Tony may have too much on his plate to accurately do a form of talent relations as well as his own jobs, especially as the head of the booking committee.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about this sort of stuff but later on in the show for another company. I think
Honestly,
that Tony Khan could really use more help and more, like, I know he's got, technically I think Christopher Daniels is one of those guys, and
yeah, but I mean, it's also a shame. It's a shame that he doesn't have somebody working for him who was a talent relations for a global wrestling enterprise. I can't think about.
Did he have a hat? Did he have a hat?
Is it black?
Definitely not black. It was white, very white.
Very white.
Very white. Was it Barry White?
And he was from Texas, right?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
white
him.
hat from Texas.
White, yeah. Was it Mark Henry?
It was Mark Henry.
It was Mark Henry.
It was Mark Henry.
That's probably it. It was a bigger guy. That's why I remember. It was something.
Exactly.
A bigger dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
definitely. It was. Because Mark Henry has a very distinct voice. That's how you know it's him.
I watched some of that. I watched some of that media scrum though, and Tony and Claudio do not like. They don't have much nice or like. They talk about Gresham, but they're dodging saying anything particularly like nice about Gresham. Like, so we'll see what happens with him. He'll find work if he wants it. You know, like he'll find work. So I'm not too worried about it. But,
of course he will.
But we'll see what happens with him in the future. Worst match of the night: Mercedes Martinez and Serena Deeb, and this one hurts,
man. And like that upsets me.
That might just be me. Other people liked it.
What?
And
Really?
I'm talking main card, by the way. Like there's plenty of stuff
there was
on the
like
pre-show
six other pre-show matches that we didn't know about,
and there was some hot garbage on that pre-show too. Like there was some hot garbage on that.
Well,
yeah. But on the main card, Mercedes Martinez Serena Deeb was pretty terrible. I don't think the right finish or decision happened with Martinez, but it's more than that because Deeb looked okay. But Deeb usually looks excellent. I've long kind of said I think Mercedes Martinez is sloppy, and I've never found her particularly interesting in the ring.
Right.
And this was all of the above and worse. And I think Deeb really thought she could get something out of her here, and I don't see why or what I'm just not a Mercedes fan, but this did nothing for me at all, and I hope I don't have to see it again. So yeah, there's that.
No, it's upsetting because it shouldn't be like that.
Other people loved it. So I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to watch the whole goddamn show. I've only seen clips. So
I'll give you my login and stuff so you can just get in there and fucking do that.
Yeah.
The only other thing that we predicted was the pre-show match between Allison. I always forget her what was her last name?
Allison Kay
and Willow Nightingale. Wow, there was some real botchy shit in this for damn sure. and I'm glad Willow won, and she's a star. She's a pure baby face. That's good. She's missing a couple fundamentals, but once she gets there, she's gonna be great. No, she's got a lot to offer. But yeah, there was I think she tried to do the cannonball thing, like KO does into the corner. I think that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, like Jack does on the couch.
You sure?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Yeah, he does it. Does one. I do it in bed. I do it in bed sometimes. I do it in bed.
He literally, and I'm just like, you're gonna fucking crash your legs.
When you get someone in the corner and you do the running cannonball, not senton anything, but whatever.
Yeah.
Is it a senton? I don't know.
I mean, it's a cannonball.
It's a cannonball.
If you're listening to this show,
you know what a cannonball is.
Cannonball.
And I think that's what she tried to do. I don't know what the fuck happened. There was clearly a massive miscommunication, and they just did some finish that happened, and it was like, okay,
There was a finish that happened.
Oh, I missed one on the main card. It was the 6-man tag for the 6-man tag championship.
How could you forget?
I know, because my boys won. Literally, my boys won.
The boys.
The
They're
boys.
not your boys. They're
Well,
Dalton Castle's
they are
boys.
Dalton's boys, but they won, and against the Righteous. Actually, very impressed from the Righteous. They were another one of those, like, yeah, okay, I can see, like, that act is gonna work. Like,
and you see why I like it.
yeah, well, it's got early Bray Wyatt vibes too. Like, it's got that like hippie culty stuff. It's got
if he's been doing that for quite a while. Like, this is sort of a weird. I
don't know much of the backstory with them.
No, that's the thing is, like, he and Matt Taven have had this like really long standing feud, and he lost a match, and like that was when everything went white with the Righteous.
Got it.
So
which I don't know, the aesthetic was cool to me. I dug it. I thought there was a lot I thought it was cool, and I was sort of like, after they came out in the white and everything, I'm like, man, like, I think I picked wrong. But no, they want to get. I think that Tony Khan is a Dalton Castle fan, and he wants the AEW audience, or the more casual audience, to see Dalton Castle, because Dalton does have something that a lot of guys don't, and it's sadly it's not as in ring anymore. He's I don't know, he looked like he's still wrestling hurt, and I didn't know. I had to look it up because he's wearing a back brace still. I know he did break his fucking back, and he was wrestling on a broken back for a long time.
A broken freaking back.
Yeah, and he to me, that was another one of those, like, ooh, that might have been this. Actually, that was probably the second worst match of the night. There were some great spots in it as a match. It was pretty bad. And some of that, and I'm going to say it, some of that was, a lot of that kind of was Dalton's fault. So we'll see. Like, I love the dude. I hope there's just better days in store for him, or what have you. Speaking about better days.
Yeah.
Now, let's just go ahead. Now we're at the point of the show that you expected us all to talk about right at the beginning. But are we? Because let's talk about the year of 2022, Duncan.
I thought we were going to say, let's talk about 2006. And I was like, let's talk about 2006.
Some good old days.
Okay, we can talk about 2022.
2022. So earlier in the year, Shane McMahon let go from WWE. That was one of our first pieces of, whoa, crazy.
Yeah, what?
Let's not forget that on top of this, we've been experiencing, mass releases after mass releases after mass releases. And, I can't remember when the last mass release was, but I'd venture a guess that there was quite a few releases still in 2022.
Probably.
Let's think about this. What else happened in 2022 so far? We're only halfway through the year, by the way, folks.
Just over.
Cody quits AEW for WWE. Think about this, right? Like, think about our year so far. So Shane is let go.
Cody re-debuts. Yep, Cody
quits AEW for WWE. Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, and Ric Flair wrestle.
Yeah.
Let's think about in 2022. Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, and Ric Flair. Well, I guess technically Ric Flair not yet, but soon enough.
Will Stone Cold and Vince McMahon asterisk. And yeah, Ric Flair will wrestle. We saw Gangrel.
This is true. Gangrel's still around. Glacier will never die.
Yeah, but we did
see Gangrel. We did see the Brood.
We saw the Brood entrance.
We did.
What else happened? I feel like there's some other stuff.
There's a lot here. I mean, but Tony Khan buying ROH, obviously huge news.
Yeah.
MJF wanting out of AEW.
Still haven't seen
MJF
him since
Who
May.
knows? I mean, still could be a work, but
Still could be a work, but at this point, it's just like
I'm glad that they're playing the long game with this one.
I guess I feel like it's almost been too long of a long game because I am not going to lie. I don't really I mean, I didn't give a shit about this angle in the first place. But I'm giving even less of a shit as the weeks go by.
I disagree. I think it's going to be huge when it comes back. I think that
I didn't say it wasn't going to be huge.
Yeah.
I just said that I'm bored with it.
I'm not.
And I'm not into it.
I'll be pumped when he eventually comes back and takes the belt off Punk.
We will see if that happens, because I think Punk's ego is a lot bigger than I think. I think he's the exact same douchebag that I've always said he was.
Could be. Doesn't sound like the healing up is going particularly well from the reports.
Well, I mean, I guess when you shatter your foot like a dumb fuck,
jumping through the audience and cracking it on a guardrail,
asshole.
Yeah, he was walking. Everybody was saying that saw him at the Comic-Con San Diego. Like he was there, doing an appearance and stuff. He's like, oh no, he was like stopping a lot to ice his foot down, and everybody's saying I think made a comment about it. He's like, yeah, it's not good. My foot is like burning all the time, and
he said that he has to relearn to walk.
Yeah. It's got to be like nerve damage and shit, right? It's got to be pretty severe. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Earlier this year, not too long ago, Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out of WWE.
Oh yeah,
not too long ago, something that happens. WWE now back to TV 14.
Yeah.
At least on Raw. That's supposed to be what was happening tonight. We are not watching. We will, be airing this, or this will come out after Raw, but we will not have seen it. So our apologies for not being super, super, relevant. But guess what? There's only so much time in the day, and there's only wrestling seems to the wrestling news cycle is more fucking busy than the political news cycle. I almost think that they have it easy. Those political fuckers, they don't have to deal with.
They can ride something out for 3, 4, 5 days sometimes.
We got shit that happens every goddamn day.
Every goddamn day.
Now, happening, of course, on this weekend,
What happened this weekend?
Well, one Vincent Kennedy McMahon has now apparently retired from his duties as, what was he, the CEO of the WWE, I believe.
CEO, Chief of Creative, I believe.
Yeah, well, those were almost unofficial titles, but his real professional title in the company was
Molester in Chief.
Oh, and Hush Money in Chief.
Man.
So there's a lot of stuff that, I'm sure everybody's heard this now. Is it okay to praise Vince at all? Is it like what they're doing right with sending Stephanie out there and starting a thank you Vince chant and all this sort of thing? Well, no, it's kind of gross, to be honest with you. It is.
Yeah.
But to completely not acknowledge that the man, sometimes for better, for worse, has changed professional wrestling, to ignore that would be idiotic.
It's
without Vince McMahon, I am probably not a wrestling fan.
I mean,
a lot of people would be the same.
It's hard because for a long time his product was the only product available. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's unfair to say.
But I fell in love with.
Hold on.
Sorry.
It's a lot like the Hogan thing, though, right? Like, where do you draw the line between, how influential he was to the business versus how really bad as a human being he is? And now we've all known Vince was a fucking scumbag.
To see the proof, though, it does make it different, and definitely does make it harder to get behind.
Can't turn a blind eye to this anymore.
No, but to completely ignore, of course, what I was gonna say earlier is I fell in love with the Vince McMahon version of pro wrestling.
Sure.
And that can only happen under one guy and one vision, and you can't knock that vision. It's like Michael Jackson might have been a scumbag too, but I still love Smooth Criminal.
Right.
And
That's the thing, is like you said, I guess it, for want of a better turn of phrase, it's separating the art from the artist.
And it is. I think
it is.
I think that's what we kind of have to do as wrestling fans, because he's so ingrained into modern professional wrestling in 2022. Like it's you cannot have a conversation about pro wrestling without him or what he has created coming up in it. So,
at some point, right?
At some point.
Well,
so for that, we say thank you, Vince. But for a lot of the other stuff,
oof,
we have to say fuck you, Vince.
Oh, fucking Vince.
And you know, you've clearly done people, even if we're leaving some of the heinous things that are the sexual misconduct things out of this, Duncan. The fact of the matter is, he has been a bully for years and years and years and years. And I've worked under some of those people. I know you have too, and I know that it is a horrible work environment. And we will talk about this in just a second, because with him retiring, this could usher in a brand new era of the WWE.
It's the McMahon Helmsley era in real life.
And it's an era that I think we were all skeptical would ever happen. We all thought that or would happen without Vince just croaking, one day. We never thought
I didn't even know that it would happen if Vince croaked.
Right. It's been an uncertain thing in over the last couple days, and certainly even today was even more like shocking than anything. With the news that we now have Vince completely stepping down. Also, though, still controlling
majority
shareholder.
Yep.
Talk about that too. And of course his role, whether official or not, head of creative. We have the news that Triple H is back as the head of talent relations. He was never the head of talent relations in the main roster, right?
No, not on main roster,
just on NXT.
For NXT he was, and now he is.
But now he has that role.
Yep.
And he also, as of today, has picked up the role of head of creative in WWE as well, main roster. Something he also somewhat had in NXT, only when Vince wasn't watching, right?
Yeah, right.
So this is the first time that we have a company without Vince McMahon in its history of being successful, at least since his father, as the head. The massive change in the structure is so exciting. I'm sure you've seen all the buzz in the internet, just kind of happening of oh my God, this is really happening. This is, we've got CEO Steph and co-CEOs, rather, with Nick Khan and Steph. Everybody's saying that, you're going to have Nick Khan more on the business side. You're going to have Steph sort of more on the marketing but creative side, the more public figurehead. The
Rock's gonna come in and buy it.
That there is a possibility of that. Rock can't afford it by himself, but if he came in with a couple of huge investors, they could probably pull it up.
Well, and he's got his $7 production company. He's good at getting investors.
Yeah, he could if anybody could pull it off and would be smart to pull it off, it is The Rock. We've talked about Dwayne doing that before.
Yeah, we've talked about Dwayne a lot.
The fact of the matter, before I get too far on this, and the more positive things, is that the way this was structured with Vince McMahon announcing his retirement, We all know that this is not because he wants to. This is because he is being forced to do so, and what he is doing is protecting, quote unquote, his legacy, but his family's fucking money. What he's doing is protecting this company and protecting its share price. That is what he is doing by being essentially forced to step down.
Yes.
We all know that. The funniest thing, though, Duncan, he announced it, I believe, right at 4:05 on Friday afternoon. Weird. Right after the stock market closed. And do you know
that
what?
Everybody would have the entire weekend to fucking forget about it.
So here's the fun little economic facts that I did some research on myself.
Oh, man.
And
no economics.
So when I got to work today at 9:30, I checked and I'm like, oh fuck, it's already up. WWE Stock's already up 4%.
Oh wow.
All right. At Bell, it was already up 4%. Now, it went as high, I believe, as right around 8 or 9%. No, we're talking a 9% share increase, right? We're talking about the stock being up. It averaged and it closed right around, it closes at 8.44% higher than what it closed on Friday. So it closed today on Monday at 8.4% higher than what they closed on Friday.
That's wild.
So here's a great quote. This is an actual quote. I should have written down from who, but I'm not an actual journalist, so sorry.
Sorry.
This was an actual wrestling journalist, and I only actually would read this if it was from one of the big ones. It's probably a Bix and Span or somebody of note. Okay, so I wouldn't be reading you this if it wasn't actual what a better journalist has done the job for me to read you. But shares are holding steady at about $71 since noon, meaning Vince McMahon's 28.7 million shares have gained about 150.5 million in market value since the close of business on Friday, when the stock was at 66.22 cents just before his exit was announced. So today, guys, just let that sink in. He retires, and he just made $150.5 million.
For fucking retiring.
Some people are saying that might be slightly exaggerated and that the amount of shares he has is exaggerated. But you know what they quoted as what he might have made? $136 million, Duncan. Ooh, I don't know. Chump change.
Fucking. So he resigns to cover up the fact that he should have put $14 million as a company expense.
Yes.
Not a personal expense.
That he did it, yes. That it should have come under the company, which that means that fucks over shareholders, essentially, that owned the stock at that time. And that he didn't do that. Now they're going to have to redo all their books. And that's why he has to resign, to keep the shareholders happy, to keep the board happy, to keep but then he makes $150 million on top of it. So Duncan, hear me out. This is his plan all along, because he knows he's not going to go to jail for what he's done. What he's going to get done in is going to have a huge FCC fine. So he's going to basically, out of that $150 million, pay back, I don't know, 50, and he'll still have made $100 million. Maybe even if it is $100 million, which it won't be that much that he has to pay back. It won't be even close.
It will not.
It'll probably be something like 2025. I'm making that number up, but that's just a conservative guess,
but just
right?
Assume.
Right. You still come out significantly on top.
Even if look, all it's going to take is for SummerSlam to be a huge, a moderate success.
Yes.
And you're going to get probably another 5%.
Sorry, there's one more little thing. Yeah. So I kind of mentioned it, but just to reiterate, I think this is interesting too. That the WWE will have to reissue financial statements for 2019, 2020, 21, and the quarter one of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking nuts, right?
That dude is wild. Like, I don't.
And you can't tell me that he just, Nick Khan probably is in on this too. This is how you do it, Vince. You do it this way, and then you get out
Not
here.
only is this how you do it, but this is also like, this is legitimately just like every fucking criminal gets taken down.
Yep.
By tax evasion.
Yep.
Like, it's all just not. All you have to do is just not report something stupid. Jesus Christ. Because you know what?
He's not going to do any time. He's not going to do any time.
I don't think he's done anything illegal.
I don't think it's a borderline
not criminal,
on
corporate liability, but not like
nope.
hard, like it's not a penal penalty. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I think you're 100% right.
He broke white collar laws. He didn't break blue collar laws.
And so that's where we kind of stand with what Vince is going to be doing. He released, everybody's read it by now, the statement that he put out there to the talent as this happens. And it is kind of funny. He had someone help write it, but he talks about how, oh, sorry guys, you won't see my, mild mannered,
smiling, mild mannered. It's just like ha 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 ha.
And then but I'll be watching, and he tells people to go sell like hell and raise the company flag, and you're all ambassadors. And then he ends the whole thing with
right.
By the way, SmackDown's on at 8:00 tonight. Like, it was meant to get out. It was also, that was part of a joke as well, I think, on his part. But it we'll get into the nuts and bolts in just a sec. But when this all happened on Friday, we also got the breaking news that Brock was like, yo, dog, I'm out.
Peace, homie.
Yeah. He said, well, if he goes, I go. I think that was the tweet going around, right? Something like that. He goes, I go.
Yeah, that's what Alvarez was reporting. Just fucking mental.
And I think he left the building. That was around 5:00. And I think he was there. And I think he left the building before SmackDown. Yeah. Reports have him coming back and being back in the building at around 8:30 or something. So,
wow.
The show did start, but he had come back. That's probably at that point, that's when all those emergency calls to Goldberg started happening, which it was reported that emergency calls were going out to Goldberg.
Goldberg, Daddy, we need you.
We need you. And it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. Of course, Brock turned up on SmackDown that evening
and destroyed Austin Theory, which
Vince probably called him. I was gonna say,
like, do you think that it was one of those where Vince is just like, look, just get through SummerSlam,
we'll figure it out later, but come on, like, don't
just get through
SummerSlam.
Talk,
but like, yeah. Like, now, if that is what happened, I ask you this, Duncan. Does this mean that we have a Vince McMahon that's not in the building, but on the phone with his daughter and his son-in-law? Yeah. Do we have a puppet master Vince that is still controlling the WWE as the majority shareholder?
He's finally done it. He's the higher power now.
He is the higher power now, and he doesn't even have to be there.
Vince is finally the higher power.
He has ascended to the ranks of a god in his brain.
It's me, Austin.
Yes.
It was me all along.
Now,
I don't think he's that smart to play that long of a con.
No. But is he smart?
Has but is he worked out in his favor? And he's a fucking carny.
Yeah. it depends on how good Tripp's and Steph's relationship with the old man is in a lot of ways, in my opinion. Because I don't know if you heard this one. He's also said after Shane McMahon's stunt at the Rumble. Remember what was it exactly he did? He wanted to come in last over Randy or something. There was like a fuckery.
He came in and like
he wanted to
eliminated a
rewrite
couple
the
of people.
Rumble the last minute and like
and he looked super strong and like came in, eliminated people. Like it's just like it's fucking Shane McMahon. Get out of here.
The way I think what has been reported today as well with Shane was that Vince said he'll never get another pop in the WWE ever again.
Wow.
Like that's that with Shane. So you don't have that. Now, Steph is always, Steph seemed like the right person to take over this role to begin with anyway, especially now with it, with the Triple H thing as well. Like they have something there. And this is where I'll ask you, what are things you want to see? And this goes into also with so much flux of what's been happening. Keep in mind the switch to TV 14. Keep in mind the Triple H back in talent relations head of creative. Keep in mind Vince might not be there or isn't going to be there behind the scenes. Suggesting that this really isn't a puppet master higher power scenario. What are things you want to see and what are things you think we will actually see?
Well, I think what we will actually see is Roman and Brock both go away.
Really?
And I think that's arguably the best thing for. Well, yeah, because Roman wants to do.
They're both part-timers at this point, really. Like that was reported earlier in the year, right? Where with Roman taking a much more relaxed schedule, which we have seen very much so since,
And I think that he wants to dial that back even further, which is totally
he's movie guy. He wants to be movie guy. You think so, right? Like it makes sense. He's got it. Like
I guess I don't see Roman as movie guy, but
whatever. I don't either. But we didn't really when the Scorpion King was out with The Rock, so
Yeah, that's true.
And that so I don't know. I mean, he's already done a couple. Rock will get him, auditions or roles.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is that.
There is that. But I think that this is a good way you get that belt. Like, dude, how many proper world champions is there, or are there rather, at Triple H's disposal right now? AJ Styles.
Yep.
Fucking Shinsuke Nakamura. Finn Balor.
Theory, you have to say it because of what's been built.
Theory will be the champion, but he's not world champion material.
You say Rollins already?
No, I'm just talking people who aren't in that main event.
But Rollins could be in that scene.
Rollins can be in that scene.
Kevin Owens can be in that scene.
Back. Like there's a lot of people that Triple H brought in the first place.
The reason I bring up Theory is because I don't know they instantly jump into Triple H booking plans. They have to appease Vince for a bit until he until they've proven themselves in a sense, right? Like, so I feel like Theory is the next champion. I feel like he wins it probably at SummerSlam.
Theory's the next champion because he can be a transitional champion into a reset.
And that's it. Yeah, 100% what I'm thinking as well. And it gives the perfect excuse with a complete screw job by Theory to have Brock and Roman go away for a while and, like you said, reset the whole main event scene. Which I mean, that goes under both what you want to see and think you'll see, I think, right? And that like a lot of these things are like that for me. I'm like, oh, I think I'll see that and I want it. And that's what's exciting. Now, there are also plenty of things that I want to see that I'm still very skeptical of, right?
Yes.
And it might have to do in my own back of my head. Like, it's still like Stephanie has to probably sit down at Christmas with Vince McMahon, and she's still like, like there might be still a bit of higher power pulling strings shit. Like what else do you think you want to see?
Dude,
Want to see? We'll see.
honestly, at this point, I don't know that Vince gives a shit as long as he's making money.
Well, and he just kind of did. Maybe
dude,
that
he
is
really,
the swan song. It's like, no, I'm good. I got my 100 mil. I'm out.
I think he knows when the battle's not with, like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, man.
Yeah. Well, and I said the 100 mil. That's not including, of course, the other like $4 billion that he's worth. Like, he's technically worth something about $4.5 billion.
That, and also, like, I'm sure that even with resigning, he'll still get a severance, and he'll still get, all that shit. Like, come on, Vince is fine.
Things I want to see: people get their names back.
Yeah.
Can we do an Austin Theory, please? Can we, because it just does sound, when they cut the names like this too much, it feels so inorganic.
I have a request.
And it kind of ties into, like, all of what I want to say is make things more organic, or make things more organic. Turn down the cheese just a bit. Turn up the realism, which goes back into that PG-13 thing.
You know what I would like to say real quick? Make Butch Pete Dunne again.
Thank you. Even though he's done a great job with Butch.
Sure, but it's like,
not Pete Dunne.
No. Let him be the bruiserweight.
Please. I think, could we potentially see that with Triple H in this new role? And because it would go for so many people. And then it also begs the question, are there people that have been released that might get a call from Triple H to come back?
We're going to come to that in a second. First of all, you know who's one of Triple H's boys who's on the main roster and not doing shit?
Ciampa?
I'll give you a hint. Yeah, he looks an awful lot like me.
Yeah.
So I think we could see Ciampa seriously get to...
Weirdly, Ciampa is one that I don't need him. I want him to have Tommaso Ciampa, but if he didn't, I'm still okay. Because we always called him Ciampa anyway.
I want it to still be Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, even if you don't refer to it every time, he's still on a trading card, for instance, or something. It's Tommaso Ciampa. And yes, those do exist. There are still WWE trading cards. Yeah.
There's still plenty of different kinds of cards.
Yeah.
Stop screwing around with people's names.
I feel like Gargano gets a call. And he's
Candace.
Hey, what do you guys think? Maybe we'll do it a little different this time. We were always boys. Sean's still his boy.
Dude, and they would bring him back for so much more money, too.
So much more money? Now,
don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Don't hate it at all. Don't hate it at all.
This is the thing. I don't want everybody to fucking go to AEW. So,
no,
I wouldn't hate that.
And that's also when certain people's contracts run out in AEW. Do you think, because I think there's some truth to this, that people with Vince gone, do you think people are just maybe a little more apt to jump to the other side than they might have been?
100%.
And who would those people be? Could it be returning Adam Cole, where things haven't gone necessarily as great as maybe one would have expected in AEW?
It's been very interesting.
Could that be? I heard a great one today, and this comes with some evidence from an interview from him. Andrade.
Who?
Andrade. His wife's a WWE, fixture, right? WWE fixture.
Yeah.
He also said in an interview that when he said in an interview something along the lines of when he got released, that he or no, because he kind of asked for his release. He was a little different, but he wasn't feeling like he was getting to the level that he felt that he could get. And he looked at Drew McIntyre as a guy that went outside the company, made a name for himself, and then came back bigger.
Sure.
I wonder if that's always been his plan with AEW. Because let's be real, the run hasn't been fantastic for Andrade.
It has not at all.
And what can you rerun in WWE that you can't rerun in any well, you can't rerun in AEW? Cody Rhodes and Andrade. Cody's last match on Fire.
Oh.
So Andrade might be one for me that I would, and I think that him and Trips have always been pretty close as well. So that one would make sense.
Ooh.
Of course, you could throw the MJF conundrum in there if you want, but
I see that, and I raise you the Good Brothers.
I honestly,
their Impact deal just ended.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I love the Good Brothers. I don't know that they're where they need to be. That's all probably. That's all I'm gonna say. Like probably. I don't think
doing that carny bullshit that they're doing.
Yeah. Now what will be great is we will probably finally see a version of the club in WWE with Balor and AJ and, you know, like them as the hallmarks.
Yeah.
I could see something like that happening. I can
Ricochet should get some love.
Oh, throw Ricochet in there. Yes.
Reggie's gonna get some love.
Remember how like much of a boner that Triple H got for Cedric Alexander in the like Cruiserweight Classic?
Oh, dude, the Cruiserweight Classic, because he put on a banger of a fucking match.
Yeah, and then he came out,
he's hanging out, getting beaten up by Bobby Lashley for helping him out.
But if we can change that, right? If we can do things like this, I came to a realization. I came to this, and I meant to talk about it last show before any of this news had really happened. But I came to a realization. I promise you, it's been something I think about for a long time, because people often, not just online, but just in conversation about wrestling these days, they always go back to, well, if WWE wasn't written, if it's all the writers' fault. And I've started thinking about that for a long time, and because I don't think it's all the writers' fault. I don't think it's the performers' fault. I think there's an incongruence of the two things, and they don't meet in the middle sometimes, and that's because of one thing, which thankfully is now gone. And that the main thing is lack of direction. And I think that's the biggest problem that was happening with Vince, because and it's a multitude of factors, right? Probably overworked, probably doing too much, like your hands in too many things, but also you're getting old. You are a little out of touch. These things aren't clicking with the audience like they used to, but you want to still hold onto that relevancy. Finally, that direction has changed. And I think I think what happens with Vince a lot is it's not just him willy-nilly ripping up a script, changing his mind. It's that he realizes, that's not clicking. I've got to change my own bad writing or my own bad thing or what have you sometimes, where he's like, nope, I changed my mind because that one's not relevant, and like I sound like a old man by doing this. So I think that is probably happening, or used to happen. If that is eliminated and they are able to talk to a Trips or a staff, or about moving like storylines forward and ideas for gimmicks, the way people say that Tony Khan is kind of like, this could be a phenomenal company given the roster and what they have at their disposal.
And then I also know that they had, like, when Triple H was accessible in NXT, like the talent there felt more, they felt more listened to, so their
Oh.
idea, they were able to be a little bit more free.
The outpouring on Twitter today from like tons of AEW like mid-card talent in particular, your Swerves and your like people calling him Daddy H and like the whole thing, like they're happy for him. Like they're a lot of, I think this right here is a game changer in a couple in like, it was a big deal to have an actual competition with AEW. But that actual competition, like, now it feels like really competition for the talent. This is the best possible thing for the talent, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because maybe even a guy was willing to take a pay cut to get out of the WWE system to go to a better place to work, right? And I'm not saying that happened, because I think Tony Khan pays probably even better. But if that even did, I can see that being like an incentive because of work environment, because of all these things, to go to the other company. If that changes and that work culture gets established back at the other place, now it's better because you feel comfortable working in multiple environments. You can negotiate better for yourself. There's more competition between the rosters. There's like this whole idea, like we're a ways, of course, off of this, but there is, in my like ridiculous mind, the possibility, if this keeps going, say in 5 years, of a crossover pay-per-view. I think that it's more possible now than it has ever been, ever.
It is at least something that could be
talked about. Whereas before, complete and utter.
Oh, no, absolutely not. You could not even utter those words.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to say, because I don't think we got to it last show.
Sure.
Holler out for our boy Reggie getting his first action figures.
Has he really got it? Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so they were debuted at San Diego Comic-Con.
That's brilliant.
Comic-Con.
So yeah, our boy Reggie, I know you got to hang out with him a little bit in person for the first time in a while. You took him to your factory show.
Well, he came to my factory.
Your factory show, and he's doing good. He's happy. Like, wasn't it the day of, like the day of the news of
he's just like,
Vince retiring?
I'm gonna come to this show. I was like, awesome.
And Vince was high on him too, so hopefully he's, everybody's cool with.
Well, also, like, he was spoken of very highly of by people at the Performance Center before it became the CWC.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be okay.
I think, we can finally get either a tag team or a real match between Reggie and fucking Ricochet eventually, because that's the match. That's what'll work in front of audiences. Like that's what,
so good.
That's what'll work. And Trips knows that, and I think that he'll see some of that and not just treat Reggie like kind of like Vince loved Reggie. Yeah. So at first I was like a little worried for him, but no, Reggie's got so much more going for him, and a lot of the stuff that probably Vince didn't like about Reggie, like Vince, he like not didn't like, but pigeonholed Reggie into doing like you're 24/7, you're the flip guy that runs away from our truth. Like,
yeah, the best thing for him is being out of that 24/7 mess. I kind of hope they just get rid of it.
Yeah, I go back and forth on that, because there have been times of the 24/7 championship actually being really funny. If they were to do some of the, like, they had the right group and the right writers, and it was done the right way. If you do the R-Truth thing again for a while, or even the Reggie thing, because you could say those were the top two people that have benefited the most from that title's inception, Reggie and him and R-Truth.
Yeah.
So if you were able to do that a little bit more with somebody else, because that's a key point currently to Reggie's professional wrestling career. And it's something that got him in front of audiences. So you can't really say it's a complete detriment, or like it has
Oh
its
no, I
it
don't
has
think
its
it is.
place, and
I
it
just
got him
think
on
that
TV, and it
for
can do
him,
that for someone else down the road.
but yeah, I'm saying for Reggie now,
He needs to get
I
out of that.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Do you think, given all the news, just really quickly, because of Reggie, you just talked about that, you mentioned it. I just want to say, of course, congratulations for him getting an action figure, but that is the dream, man. Like
Right.
that is like one of those, like I didn't want to gloss over that like part. Like that is one of those, and I'm sure it's badass. It's you got the body scanned, and it's the whole, like it looks
Yeah.
like you. Like they're amazing. Like I prefer the AEW figures, but I'm just being, I don't know. I like but come on, like the WWE figures are immaculate. Like they're fucking fantastic.
Dude,
And
yeah, like they both have some really kicking action figures.
just to have one of yourself too. Like
Yeah.
Reggie
Did you
got
see
into
that
this
clip of The
kind of at a
Undertaker?
whim. So like not a whim, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to now see yourself, like you've held belts. You've held a belt, and you have an action figure. Like to
Dude,
me,
like,
that is
the
mind blowing. I know them
names
both.
that
The
the names that he's dropping in casual conversation, I'm
That's
just like, you
nuts.
fucker.
You're living the life.
Yeah, but I mean, to have your own, yeah, it's 100% the dream, right? Like,
Yeah.
but oh shit, what was I gonna say? I think that it,
Let me ask you this:
yeah,
with all this news, is the WWE more likely to be up for sale than it was before? I think not immediate, but I think
yeah,
once they
I don't,
once they see everything in the stock settle and Vince McMahon is gone and everything's fine and the ship is floating just good, right? Once they see that, and maybe even better, I think it will make people more inclined to want to buy it, because you don't have Vince in the mix, an old guy
Yeah.
that could die, and also it's unproven without anybody else. If you can prove now you can survive without him,
Yeah.
like the best thing for that stock price is him dying in a year. Like like seriously though, if you think about it, they are perfect for a year, right? But Vince could still be controlling things from behind the scenes. So if he
Right.
croaks and then it's still good for another year, well, then we know it's not a fluke, right? So
Right.
now we
Right,
can
right, right.
now it's I hate to think like that, but
No,
but I think like this is one of those that I think it only does increase the longevity. I heard a report, very brief, but all it said was that the USA Network was very, very excited about the news today.
good. Yeah, because you might actually get some decent shows again.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I would love for that to happen.
And I do think that I still think they keep saying that Raw TV 14. I don't think they've heard Raw and SmackDown.
I don't know, man.
But
like,
it makes sense. But it makes sense because you got SmackDown as a network
broadcast.
show on broadcast. So then, yeah, with a cable show, you can do TV 14 a little easier, especially at 8:00.
Right.
Like I think you can technically get away with it on. I don't know if you can though. I don't know if you can.
I think you can.
I think you can get. I don't know. I don't know when I want to talk out of turn with the rules, but yeah, it feels like
we're very good with rules.
whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, like, okay, so if I'm USA, I'm excited because we could potentially be starting to get bigger numbers and some trickle over from Fox's audience that might now want to see this because, this is going to be like special and different and like a more adult related show. And if I was, so if you were a kid right now, you're 7, 8, 9 years old, right? and there's a TV-14 show and you know there's a TV-14 one and a PG one as your wrestling show, and you're really into wrestling, and you can only watch. Oh, but now this other one you hear is more like adult.
Okay.
Now
I
it's
mean,
only if they go through with it and actually like present
Yeah,
it
but
as
like
such.
I have to like imagine myself in a time when there were TV ratings when
Sure.
that was not a thing for me. So like I don't know. I'm just used to watching whatever wrestling was available. Doesn't matter to me what it's
They
rated.
still have to get good ratings though, and that's part of the business, you know. Like
No. I mean like rated as in like
Oh, right.
TV,
Yeah.
MA, TV, PG, whatever. Like that shit didn't exist
No,
when I was during the Monday
came
Night
a lot.
Wars.
Yeah, it came into my teens is when that really started like happening.
Yeah.
but I guess
And
you're
it's all like it's not as regulated as like the movie ratings are. It's like sort of like an arbitrarily
It is a little more
self-set.
arbitrary thing. You're right.
Yeah.
It is. You're right. It is. I think what I'm trying to say more of is that I would like a bit more distinction and separation from the two shows. And this is a good way to do that. Even if it's in your third hour, you get that people to tune in after 10 o'clock, that 10 to 11 hour, and you know, oh, maybe there is a titty that pops out.
Maybe,
I don't know.
I don't think there's going to be a titty.
Oh, well,
It's not
there's
TV mature.
Damn it, there needs to be more. Remember that time with Triple H and he was like, "Hey, no," and he wasn't having it when she didn't, and then she did, and then oh, but that's what we
used
need.
to see that shit at concerts all the time too.
That won't be happening, by the way. There'll be more. There'll be a little swearing. There'll be. I think Triple H and Steph are smart enough to keep the women's division a wrestling and just
they're not going to turn it. It's not going to go back to the Divas era.
And this brings me to my next thing is that very thankfully Bruce Pritchard was demoted, not fired, but apparently demoted today.
Good.
Now we don't exactly know his role. All we know it's demoted. I was thinking about this, and I do think it's a lot for long-term Triple H to handle both the talent relations role and the head of creative. That's a lot.
Yep.
Here's what I would do. See if you like this. I think you have Triple H. He is the head of creative. But you have a couple of people work under him that are assistants. So he is the buck stops here. But you also are doing it a little more by committee. Much like it used to be when Vince McMahon laid by the pool with Pat Patterson and Briscoe, JR, Monsoon, but at times even Cornette, right?
Right.
So I think what I'm proposing is the new that Vince has the final say, but you're talking about it. You're working.
Trips has the final say, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Trips has the final say, but he's gonna maybe get some input from some of the best people around him. And here's who I propose. Number 1, Paul fucking Heyman.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot of things that Heyman's going to get a pretty big promotion out of.
And I think what you do with Paul is you actually make Paul Heyman the head of talent relations. Whilst in this role as well as we'll say like just assistant creative, right?
Yeah. Assistant to the general manager.
Assistant to the general manager, but also the head. I think he could be a good head of talent relations.
Yeah.
I also think another guy that you have right at your disposal, who, of course, Vince would be very happy with, and a guy that has experience running companies, wrestling promotions, for better or worse, but a guy that they have just put back on the books, I think for very good reason, is Jeff Jarrett. I think you can absolutely have Jeff Jarrett in that role.
Yeah.
It fits for me.
So what do you do with Bruce?
Fire his ass.
Yeah.
I think
Let him go back to making podcasts with Conrad.
You keep him around for a year or two, but you kind of start diminishing his role. Yeah, you know what you have him do? have him write stories for NXT 2.0 because he's already doing that. He's like, he was one of the major forces for that. So you focus his efforts on NXT 2.0. That way, he's still doing what he's doing, still being productive, but he's not interfering with the product that sells, that makes the money.
Yeah.
And
don't fuck with the bread and butter.
Yeah. So when you make your own Tony D'Angelo, and he needs to be brought up to the main roster, he's got some fundamentals, and he can like actually be brought up to whoever it is, right?
Sure.
We can just now like take your Bruce Pritchard trash and wipe it off, and we've got like, oh, we can make you cool, and then we'll bring, and then we can make you cool. That's a better way around of doing it than Triple H makes you a super fucking cool guy down in NXT, sends you up to the main roster, and Bruce, and then Bruce Pritchard comes up with Butch, because that's but that's it. But so if you did it the other way around, where you had the cheesy gimmick first, and then when you came like, then
that's where they're going with like an NXT 2.0 anyway.
So Bruce Pritchard goes and does that. Who else is still on the writing staff? Remember Abyss?
Yeah.
I think you can do something with him. I feel like that guy has, like, he's one of those weird background dudes that has
producers,
this.
Right? Like,
so he's another one. It's like, I don't know. Can
Hurricane
he slip into something there?
Maybe. I mean, Hurricane's working backstage. I think honestly, like, Triple H will probably bring back a couple of the other producers to spread out the load a little bit, because they're all overworked.
I think that's going to have to happen. I think that's going to have to happen. And he's going to have a good chance of getting some people back now with new promises and better contracts. And
Ding Dong the Witch is dead.
And Ding Dong the Witch is dead. Now there'll be certain people that Johnny Ace ain't coming back now. Like Johnny Ace.
No.
We're probably not hearing about him or of him.
No, but he shouldn't have come back in the first fucking place.
There was somebody else too. Oh, damn it. It slipped my mind. The one that I hope
Kevin Dunn, I think, is one of the ones that's
well, Dunn has to go. Dunn's not going to he's not going to lose his job immediately.
No, but he's going to get, I don't know if he's going to get demoted, but there will be some sort of something happening.
So here's another, I don't know. Dunn's official, position with the company has him, of course, just on the production side.
Right.
But Dunn has long had a lot of creative control as well.
And influence because of what he wants to do with the production.
Correct. So even if we were just to get rid of that part of Dunn's role and he still remains employed, that's probably going to be better. And that's what will happen, I think, just over time. I hope. This is more of an I hope.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. This is an I hope with Dunn. Yeah.
I can see them bringing in someone weird too, like Conrad or something. I don't know. Do you know what I mean though? To give him some sort of. I
could see them bringing Ken Kennedy back.
It's a weird one, but
he, you know what I mean? He's blackballed by Vince.
When's Jericho's contract up?
That's the one
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I think 24, 25.
I mean, but that time's right too. That sort of time's right for what this progression needs to be. And then he's like the lead commentator that occasionally gets involved with other shit or something. Sure. I don't know, but it's something like that. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised in the slightest. No. Speaking of commentators real quick too, everyone was really, really digging the Ring of Honor commentary team, and I've already forgotten their names.
Is it Riccaboni?
It's Riccaboni and black dude. Shit, what the hell? Caprice. No,
Caprice.
yeah.
Yeah, Caprice Coleman.
Caprice Coleman. Thank you. I like Caprice more than Riccaboni. I don't hate either of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people were praising them. I was not as high on them as other people. I'm new to Ring of Honor. They weren't familiar. I grant you that. They did a great job of calling the action when the action was good. They did a very poor job of covering
yeah.
at times when
I get that.
some of the more unexperienced superstars needed a little help.
Yeah, I gotcha.
That would be my biggest complaint. Then I heard or thought about something I heard about a week ago before any of the craziness of this week really happened. And it was like a minor little drop in the bucket story. It was like, apparently a few months ago, Mauro Ranallo had talks with AEW and Tony Khan.
Yeah, yep.
Like, oh, well, that does make sense. And then I thought about it. Well, Tony Khan, we've talked about this before, how he had the biggest boner for Black and Gold NXT.
Yep.
He has stolen NXT. He's made AEW half in the image of the Black and Gold NXT.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. Yeah. And because this is how you do Ring of Honor, and you do a 3-man booth with the two guys they have that I just named, Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman. And then you fucking throw fucking Ranallo on there. And now it becomes more familiar to people. It's
at least for pay-per-views you could bring Mauro in.
And you know what? You don't even have to do it for every match. He can come in for a main event. But that alone, and you can do that on Dynamite every once in a while too. When you're doing a big Ring of Honor pay-per-view and you're building the next event, you're going to have Mauro Ranallo, and then you can use that as selling point too. For this match is so big, we have Mauro Ranallo coming in to call this match.
Yeah,
and with us, like
I miss Mauro,
and I think that would be a great usage of him. I don't need him as a full-time commentator on Ring of Honor.
He's a little too intense,
and I think we all know he struggles. I don't think that the road is for him. He can come in. No, but I think
like a pay-per-view kind of schedule
would be perfect for him.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there, wishing it into the world.
I don't disagree with that.
We're talking. We talked about that. We'll do some rapid fires, and then we'll kind of get out of here.
We should probably do that.
Yeah, what do we got here? We're only an hour and 37, bro.
Only an hour and 37.
Calm your tits.
No, my tits shan't be calmed. So.
Okay, here's a good one.
I'm the champion. My tits will do what they want.
Did you catch the battle rap between the Acclaimed and the Gun Club?
No, absolutely not.
You did not? Well, first off, yeah, it was awful. You don't have to watch it. But there was one piece of information that I had failed to remember or just learned, and that was that. And this came from. Austin Gunn. Yeah, Austin was the one rapping, not Colton.
Austin ass boy.
Yeah, Austin a boy. Austin as housing boys. So Max Caster was apparently one of Bobby Lashley's sisters in the remember that segment? Yeah. It was with Sami Zayn, I think, and Bobby Lashley, and when they were feuding, and so Max Caster, you go back and look at it, there's screenshots of it, clearly Max Caster as one of Bobby Lashley's sisters. Austin Gunn used that in the rap, which made it worth watching some of it. Now what I'm gonna do to you is kind of I'm gonna expertly segue. So how I'm gonna do this, Duncan, is I'm gonna play you a little audio clip, and I'll say this audio clip, it will inform some of the rest of what we will talk about for a little bit, but I will say that it's about a dream. I'm not a huge fan of dreams. In fact, on the Ono radio show, I like to say, fuck your dreams. 100%. In this case, I got to hear of a great dream from a professional wrestler. I will only play the audio because if I play the video, I will get demonetized. I will get kicked off the internets. But I
Okay.
think I can get away with this audio, especially as we're so deep into the show. And I'm going to play you a slight aftermatch promo. This is from the G1 Classic here. That's our good, well, not good friend. He's actually kind of a cunt, but his name is Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh yes, total cunt.
And have you heard about his dream, Duncan, that he
I
had?
haven't.
Okay, well, he's going to tell you, and it's coming through your channel, so just bear with me if the audio is a little weird, but yes, he will tell you about his dream, and I will assure you that it involved George Michael, the pop singer.
And when I couldn't breathe, I had a vision.
You had a vision?
I had a vision. When I came round, George Michael was there. And George Michael said, "Hi, Zach." And I said, "Hi, George. Where the bloody hell were you? I needed your help in April when I was challenging Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. You didn't bloody turn up." And George Michael said, "Sorry, Zach. I was hiking. I was hiking with Prince." So you were hiking with Prince? He was like, "Yeah, in the Lake District." "In the Lake District?" He went, "Yes, Zach. I was hiking with Prince in the Lake District. It's very nice. Have you been?" I went, "Not recently, George Michael. No. I've got more pressing matters like the G1 Climax." And he went, oh, don't, yeah, I did that, like, oh. I said, "George, I thought you were going to be here to give me some advice. So you got any advice?" He went, "You just did that." He went, I went, "For God's sake, George Michael." I was like, "Advice?" He went, "Use detectors." I said, "You said that last time, George Michael. You need to be more specific." And George Michael went, "Achilles, probably." I went, "Achilles?" He was like, "Yeah, he hurt his Achilles. Do the Achilles." I went, "All right." And I did an Achilles, and I won. So, once again, thank you, George Michael. Lake District does sound very nice. I would like to go. You've been hiking?
Walking away. What?
What the?
That's the greatest thing ever. He's just like, yeah,
most
it came to me in a vision. George Michael told me to attack his Achilles, and I won.
Probably.
And I won. I did, and I won.
That's the most British thing too. Achilles probably.
Yeah, probably.
Boy, Achilles, isn't it?
That was one of my favorite little
Jesus
bits and
Christ.
pieces of the week, and it does lead us into kind of the G1 Climax. I think I'm gonna do just like a really big breakdown on my own at some point, because at this stage there's so many matches that have been going on that like we've got everybody in this thing, like everybody's in this thing. I think coming up we got one of the matches that's coming up possibly, or I know it's coming up, is like, and it's a round robin, so everybody is gonna face everyone. This thing takes forever.
Yeah.
Like, listen to Block A. Let me just read them out. It's fucking Okada, Toru Yano, Jeff Cobb, Lance Archer, Bad Luck Fale, Filthy Tom Lauder, and Jonah. That's 8.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
it's sick. So all of them will face each other.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
like that is nuts.
Yeah, that's wild as shit.
Block B. Jay White, Tama Tonga, Taichi, Tomohiro Ishii, Sonata, Great Khan, and Chase Owens. Like, very Bullet Club heavy,
Very, very Bullet Club heavy.
heavy group, but still interesting. So that'll be part of the storyline. All right. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tetsuya Naito, Evil, Hiroki Goto, Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta, and Aaron Henare. I don't know Aaron Henare,
I don't know that.
but I
don't know that one
okay.
either,
So
but-
he was a New Japan Dojo graduate from New Zealand who was somewhat rudderless. Last year, he reinvented himself as a cool bruiser and joined the United Empire. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, if you want to hear more about any of these guys, let me know, because the guy that wrote like this whole breakdown, I really appreciated the way like he kind of like, for instance, like who's someone here, Evil was the first person Naito had recruited in LIJ, and the Bruiser had some success primarily tagging with Sonata. However, he felt disrespected and turned on that Naito in 2020.
Naito.
In 2020 to join Bullet Club. capturing the heavyweight and intercontinental titles before their unification. Now running a BC sub-faction called House of Torture, his matches are often marred by outside interference and the illegal use of weapons.
Ooh.
So yeah, this was like a rundown for like, this is the idiot's rundown of the,
You should
the
do
G1 climax.
the Oh No G1 guide for idiots.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it because I gotta understand it. I'll be learning it as I do it, right? So it's kind of fun to do it like that. And then block D here, we've got Will Ospreay, Shinago Tagachi. Is it Tagachi?
Shingo Tagache.
Yeah, Shingo Tagachi. Juice Robinson, Yoshihashi, El Phantasmo, Yujiro Takahashi, and David Finlay. So yeah.
Okay.
Takahashi was the first Japanese member of Bullet Club. Did you know that? That's some interesting stuff there, yeah?
Yeah.
But no, I with all those matches, and then obviously like the way they do it, the winners move on, and then like it's a round robin, you know. So from all those names, I mean, who you feeling, bro? Who's going the distance? Who's going for speed? Who's gonna do this thing?
Was that a cake reference?
It was.
All right. You know what? I'm going Tamatonga.
Ooh. They don't. I mean, yes, Okada's won a ton of times, but it's kind of, this one's like supposed to be the tournament, I think, that elevates you right to like the next level. Like, dude,
and like he got kicked out of Bullet Club. Like, I think Tamatonga's ready for that.
That could be cool. I feel like don't sleep on Filthy Tom Lawler in this.
No, or Jonah.
He's a dickhead though. I don't like him. It's gonna be real.
Mm.
It's gonna be. I just think he's an egotistical kind of guy.
He's a bit more high on himself than he should be.
We got 3 quick things we got to move through. So,
right.
Bummer first. Have you heard about this one? Joey Ryan. Yeah, he's doing a one-man show. Yep, he's promoting it.
A one-dong show.
Do you want to know the name of it? This guy is such a fucking piece of shit.
The Rise and Fall of Joey Ryan's Penis.
He is doing a one-man show called The Rise and Fall of Joey Ryan's Penis.
God damn it.
Yeah. Gets fired from Disney. That's all he can do.
You know, I get the whole, like, what's the dude supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right?
But don't glorify your scum ways into, I don't know. I'll watch it if someone sends it to me for free, but I'm not giving any of that money.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Where is it? Like, do you know?
I think it's in LA. Like,
I would assume it's in LA. I'll look into it and see. I don't want to.
I can't imagine he has much of a venue for this. You know, I doubt he does.
I'll be surprised.
It feels scummy, right?
Yeah,
and especially
like,
even
dude,
throw
take
in
your L and go.
And after you've been accused of such sexual misconduct, when you are putting together, I guess, a one-man show, and you even just use the word penis in your description of it, like, and you're making the joke and all that, it seems like you're downplaying the severity of what you've been accused of by even naming the show
in Southern California, and then people found out that it was him doing it, and they were just like, "Oh,
nope,
no,
we're out. Nope."
Yeah, so I don't know, man.
Maybe he'll have a man wrestling match. Maybe that will be the show because no one wants to wrestle him.
Dick flip himself.
Kevin Dunn didn't think Becky Lynch was good looking enough to be a top star.
Dude, I heard about that. I'm like, that's fucking dumb.
That is, are you fucking high? And have you seen Kevin Dunn? Because those are funny things to really like. I mean,
Becky surf on those teeth.
Becky's sexy as fuck, dude. She's fucking like, come on, like, let's get out of here. And she always has been attractive. That's just not
Even when she was doing the dumb fucking like
Yeah.
jig dancing,
Come on.
whatever.
Fucking Becky Lynch, bro. Pac and Kip Sabian, they exchanged some words at a Rev Pro show. Pac was rolling around. He beat somebody for his, belt there, his Atlantic belt.
For that AEW All Atlantic.
Yeah. And then he
International
rolled out of the ring
Championship.
and he had the belt. And then he was like, I'm a bastard, or however he sounds. I can't do his accent.
Yeah, you can't do a Jordy to save your life.
I can't do a Jordy. No, I can't. And then, but he yelled at Kip Sabian, and then like Kip Sabian was wearing his box, and
Oh God.
he's a boxman. He's still doing it. Credit to he's still doing it. Like,
I mean, I'll give him credit for that. That's commitment.
I think he's taken it off once. There was I think it was at a Rev Pro show. So this actually could be kind of cool. They've already defended the Rev Pro belt on, or sorry, not the Rev Pro, but the All Elite Wrestling
All
Atlantic Championship. They've done that on Rev Pro. I think that's a nice little bridge. That's kind of like it's like AEW's championship on Rev Pro is kind of what it's gonna.
It's I think they want it to be AEW's championship
the
in
tours.
other promotions.
Yeah, other promotions. This just happens to be the first one. I don't want this. It's as good and bad because I feel like it would be kind of a disservice if the first big defense over there is Pac Kip, and he's defended it twice since, but before, but not at anybody at Kip's level.
Right.
And then Kip comes back after not being on TV or not being around for so long, and then he just loses the Pac. Like, that sucks, So
yeah,
if that's his big return, so I kind of hope it doesn't happen. But if Kip wins it, then you have a really good way of instantly elevating him, making a new star, and then you can have Pac win that back like a month later, and then
Sure.
But now they can possibly be in a long-term feud that goes back and forth through different promotions around Europe, where one's winning it back, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
and then once Penelope Ford's not injured anymore, she gets involved.
I want them to cancel the match at Clash at the Castle with, what is it, Sheamus, Drew, Roman, Brock. Is that what they have booked? Is that, I don't even know what the hell it is.
I have no idea.
There's I thought that's what was. I looked it up earlier. Right now it's, if you go to the Wikipedia, I got it wrong. It's a singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship. We don't know. It's Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. Or
versus Sheamus or Drew.
Correct. But I want Drew, and there was house show footage of this. Seemingly like this might be a feud that they were toying with, Drew and Gunther.
Okay.
Clash of the Castle. I think it could work really well.
Sure.
But I think people just really want to see Drew win that belt, especially there. Last little couple things.
No, not last little 5 more things.
It's the last one. I watched Sami Zayn on the Broken Skull Sessions, man.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I actually really enjoyed it, and it was a really.
I like all those Broken Skull sessions. Like, they're all good interviews.
Yeah. I like Sammy a lot more. Not that I ever disliked Sammy, but I got a newfound appreciation for him, and he was
okay.
I think he's really grown into Sammy, if that makes any sense. He's still a little bit nuts. He's still but I think he's really grown into who he is. There's the confidence there, and maybe that's just good editing or whatever. But he's well spoken, and everything was just like it really clicked for me on the show, and you could tell they had him and Steve had a really good rapport, but he asks him like, so what is what is the end goal, and like how long do you expect to do this, your career or whatever? And I did have to look it up. Sammy is 38, right? So he's not old, but he's not young, right? So
no,
and he's been doing
younger than me, older than you.
He's been doing it about 20 goddamn years, If not, no, he's been doing it over 20 years, because I think he started at like 15, 16. And he he's like, well, I don't know when I'll like retire. He's like, like you go until the wheels fall off, but that could be tomorrow, right? So he's going on with that. He's like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I want to hold the big one. For one day, I want to like. He's like, I've held the Intercontinental, and that was like that was my title, right? So like growing up, the workhorse, like all that, right? So like I've done that, and that was great, and so I'm happy. But I can't lie. I want to hold the big one. And then there was talk of like his interaction with Brock Lesnar at one point, and if he could ever really be the top guy, ever be the top guy to hold the belt. And he makes, the way he talks about it is that he's like, I know I can do it, and I've got to wrestle like a big man. I've always wrestled like a small man. He gets into a lot of the nuances with it. It's a very intelligent like mindset how he has about it. And it made me believe that Sami Zayn could one day do it. This was all recorded, of course, before any of this news broke. There was no inkling of a Vince, but there was a lot of Vince McMahon boss man talk in this conversation, right?
Sure.
But it made me sort of think, and wanted to ask you, it's our final question of the night, could Sami Zayn be the top guy of the WWE?
Yes, but for how long, I don't know. Like, you could give him a sunshine moment.
A Kevin Owens run?
Yeah. Honestly, if he's going to win the big one, it should be from KO.
Yeah, it should.
I think that's
and
poetic.
almost instead of the usual beat down afterwards or whatever, an actual hug of you did it type thing. Like it, like one of those moments. Like I think that's probably I mean, I'll cry with that one. I mean, like that's such a story and what a way to do it. But yeah, you're right. You can't. It would be extremely difficult to ever have him topple a Roman.
He's not going to beat Roman. He's not going to beat Brock. Like, that's the thing is,
but he could beat a Theory.
From the champion being an unbeatable force. Like, it's not.
He could beat a Theory, and I don't think it would damage Theory that much either.
No, but like Theory's going to be a transitional champion and only have it for a month or two anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And so you think we got Brock Roman going away for a while? Do you think is this the match? Is this this SummerSlam match? Is this just what happens? It's a Theory and then how the hell we got to split these belts too? What if Vince also kind of was just like, yeah, all those ideas I had were kind of shit. So I wrote you into a hole. Good luck getting out. Because he kind of did with the belts.
He into a hole for years. Like, it's nothing new.
But this,
like,
this one with those belts too. Like, fucking A. Like, we gotta figure that one out.
I mean, look, Triple H was on the receiving end of a random belt from Bischoff, so it's not like there isn't a precedent for him to just be like, okay.
Triple H, you're my favorite guy. Give me back that winged eagle. I'm gonna come and let's just do the thing. Yeah, I mean that's all they need. That's all they need. It's been an interesting chat, a long chat. I don't know what else to say, other than it's the most excited I've been about WWE in quite some time.
I mean, I'll be interested to see if anything worth a shit happened on Raw tonight.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what's interesting. Imagine, that we're recording this without seeing what happened on Raw. Hopefully there isn't. I mean, I haven't been checking Twitter. I haven't been checking anything, but I assume that one of my dirtbag friends if anything crazy, really crazy happened, I would have got a text. I would have got a message. I would have got something. And
I
my
don't think we're
phone,
gonna
my
see
phone's
anything
been
too drastic right away.
It seems like my phone's been relatively quiet, so I'm gonna assume that nothing crazy happened. But we will just have to talk about it on the next show if anything did. Doug.
Sure are.
We got a couple cool matches to look forward to this week that we'll discuss next. We at least have, what was it? We got Bryan Danielson coming back to action against, was it? Who was it?
Garcia.
Was it Garcia? Yeah, it was Garcia. Yep. And then we have Moxley defending his championship. God, I forgot about that one already. Against Roosh. 2 matches, I think, both going on this week's Dynamite that I'm looking forward to. So I know those are happening. Oh, and of course, next week, I'm not buying this shit. I'm finding some way to steal it because I just refuse to pay for it. But yeah, I guess don't forget about, tuning in to the Ric Flair dying ceremony that might be happening, I think, next weekend. I think it's the day after SummerSlam. SummerSlam is on Saturday, and Ric Flair is dying on Sunday. So make sure to be in Tennessee somewhere. Also, we hope me and Duncan, we were gonna really, we weren't able to do predictions with Matthew last time around, and he wasn't able to make it for this show. So we're really hoping we can hop on and do at least a quick, very quick predictions podcast.
Predictions power bomb.
Oh, I like that. Predictions power bomb segment later in the week, of course, before Saturday hits. Duncan, remember, people need to find us on patreon.com/ONRS. They need to find us on Instagram @ONOWrestling. Where else do they need to find us, Duncan?
I believe we are at the real ONRS, we're at ONO Wrestling on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on that one. I mean, I should use that one. Now I'm back on Twitter. I'm Owen Butler on Twitter. Don't like that one. That's not for the thing. Facebook.com/group/ONO Wrestling.
ONO Wrestling, and then Discord.
Discord
that's right. Server.
Yeah,
you
for
can
all
search for
pay-per-views.
ONO Wrestling in there.
All pay-per-views. We're going to be doing, when we can, when we're watching it, hop in the Discord server. Little chat along while we do that. 407-906-6466. If you ever want to leave us a voicemail, I check them all the time, and you fuckers never do. But you know what we do like to say when we get out of here? In the immortal words of one dead man common and a guy with black and white face paint. Ladies and gentlemen, what? Oh, woo!